How safe is the chicken already sitting in your freezer, the one you thought was ready to heat and serve without worry? Behind factory doors, cameras have caught images that could turn your stomach. Contamination slipping past final checks, foreign objects hidden under breading, and safety failures putting thousands at risk in a single batch. Federal data shows that recalls for fully cooked poultry have surged over the past decade, often involving deadly bacteria like listeria, or hard fragments capable of causing serious injury. For seniors, immune-compromised individuals, and families feeding young children, even one mistake in post-cook handling can mean a hospital stay, or worse. So when a bag promises safe and ready to eat, how much of that is fact and how much is packaging fantasy? If the same plants supplying cafeterias, nursing homes, and your dinner table can't keep contaminants out, what else is slipping through? This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. And today we pull back the curtain on 7 popular brands that are still selling you the worst pre-cooked kitchen. Let's begin. Number 1. Tyson Foods. Some brands don't just sell food, they sell a feeling, like a story you can take home and put on the table. Tyson has long perfected that art. You see the bag in the freezer aisle, you think about how easy dinner's about to be, and suddenly it feels like someone else has done the hard work for you. The grill marks look just right. The tenders are coated in golden breading. The diced chicken is neatly waiting to be tossed into a soup or salad, and you haven't even turned on the stove. For folks who've spent a lifetime working with tired backs and sore feet, or those who now count every penny of a pension, it helps life get so much better, isn't it? But when the camera lens turns toward the places you never see, the kitchen you imagined in your head doesn't match the one where your chicken was really made. Back in the summer of 2021, the mask slipped. Tyson pulled 8.5 million pounds of fully cooked chicken after tests revealed Listeria monocytogenes contamination. That's a dangerous pathogen that the Centers for Disease Control tied to multiple illnesses and deaths. Inspectors traced it straight to the Dexter, Missouri plant. This wasn't raw chicken you could scrub, season, and cook yourself. This was supposed to be done, safe, and ready to eat. The very step that should have erased the risk had failed before the product ever reached your hands. For anyone who thought buying pre-cooked chicken meant buying peace of mind, it was like learning your safety belt had snapped in the middle of a crash. Then, as if the trust meter hadn't already sunk low enough, the fall of 2023 brought another gut punch. Nearly 30,000 pounds of Tyson's Fun Nuggets, those dinosaur-shaped bites designed to light up a child's face, were recalled for metal fragments. It's not even a vague could-be risk, but an actual injury confirmed. Imagine thinking you were giving the little ones a joyful, harmless snack, only to picture a shard of metal tucked under that smiling dino breading. Some people still argue it's just a slip in the system, but that's really a complete trip over the line. The hits kept coming when Tyson quietly backed away from its "no antibiotics ever" pledge on many products, replacing it with softer language that allowed certain antibiotics. People had spent years paying extra for cleaner chicken, thinking they were voting with their wallets for something better, only to watch that promise change without warning. For those already trimming grocery lists to the bone, that kind of quiet shift feels like paying for a lock only to find out the key's been handed out to strangers. And it's not just about what's in the meat. Tyson has paid more than $220 million to settle accusations of working with competitors to limit supply and drive up chicken prices. For families with tight budgets, this corporate greed means fewer meals on the table. Add to that the disturbing findings of a 2023 federal child labor investigation. More than 100 minors cleaning dangerous meat plant equipment overnight, including in facilities tied to Tyson's supply chain. Even if subcontracted, it's still happening inside the same pipeline that leads to your dinner plate. Which begs the chilling question, if this is what's caught when cameras are rolling, what hides in the shadows when they're not? Behind all of this is a machine built for speed and volume, where every second shaved from production is money in someone's pocket. High-speed lines make careful sanitation a luxury, not a priority, and when the clock is king, safety can become the first casualty. That's how you end up with deadly bacteria in pre-cooked chicken, metal in kids' food, and trust bleeding out one recall at a time. Still, it's too easy to point a single finger. Tyson moves inside a bigger system that rewards cutting corners and punishes slowing down. Retailers push for rock-bottom prices, investors demand steady growth, and the appetite for cheap, ready-to-eat protein never stops. In that kind of squeeze, even the biggest brands can end up trimming in places they once swore they wouldn't. And maybe that's the real question. If the cracks are baked into the system itself, how many more are hiding in the bags we toss into our carts without a second thought? Number 2. Purdue Farms. Not every promise comes wrapped in gold foil. Sometimes it's a paper label printed with soft green fields, a red barn in the background, and a word like harvest that feels like it belongs in a children's storybook. Purdue knows exactly how to paint that picture. You walk past their pre-cooked chicken in the store and it almost talks to you. I'm the neighbor, who still bakes pies for the county fair. The family farm you wish you grew up on. Oven-roasted strips, breaded cutlets, carved breast meat, all dressed up to feel like a warm handshake in a world of cold plastic aisles. For many shoppers, especially those who just want to believe they found a cleaner, more ethical shortcut, it's easy to lean in. But scratch the surface of that barnwood painted promise and the shine starts to peel away like old paint in the sun. 2024 brought a quiet but telling moment. Purdue voluntarily recalled a batch of pre-cooked, ready-to-eat chicken strips after inspectors from the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service followed up on consumer complaints about clear plastic in the meat. No one's name hit the hospital charts this time, but the culprit was traced to worn-down processing equipment, the very machinery meant to be the invisible guardrail between the factory and your fork. For someone who can't chew tough foods anymore, or who has to watch every bite because of health issues, the thought of sharp-edged plastic hiding in something billed as heat and serve turns an easy meal into a potential disaster. And it's not just the plastic. Purdue's safety track record has been tested by salmonella concerns, too. Over the years, both federal monitoring and independent testing have revealed contamination levels in certain poultry products high enough to spark lawsuits and petitions for stricter oversight. While the company insists it meets the letter of federal law, advocates warn that some salmonella strains are antibiotic resistant and particularly risky for older adults or anyone with a weakened immune system. Ironically, the very people most drawn to the convenience of pre-cooked poultry. It's like putting a trusted for generations stamp over a fact Mother Nature doesn't negotiate. Bacteria don't care what brand you buy. Then there's the ethics layer, one that has nothing to do with microbes and everything to do with trust. In 2023, lawsuits accused Purdue of marketing chicken as humanely raised, while undercover footage and worker accounts told a different story. Crowded barns, rough handling, and scenes that would never make it onto the package. For shoppers who thought their money was helping animals live better, that gap between image and reality feels less like a misunderstanding and more like a breach of faith. And the shadow doesn't stop at the barn door. Labor advocates have reported punishing speeds on processing lines, repetitive stress injuries, and even workers denied basic breaks. The phrase family farm starts to sound different when the family is burning out behind the scenes. Critics have also taken aim at Purdue's lobbying against tougher salmonella rules. The company frames it as protecting consumers from price hikes. Watchdogs see it as avoiding the cost of deeper preventive measures. Either way, the debate isn't abstract. It ends up on your plate. Still, Purdue's not floating above the fray. It operates in the same cutthroat market as Tyson and others, where supermarket buyers squeeze suppliers, competitors shave costs to win shelf space, and shareholders expect a steady climb no matter the season. In that kind of squeeze, even a brand wrapped in country charm can find itself making trade-offs it wouldn't want to put on a billboard, and so the fork in the road becomes personal. Those still wanting quick protein without the aftertaste of doubt might look at Bell & Evans oven roasted chicken breast, known for smaller scale sourcing and air chilling methods. Or you could take the Sunday roast route. Buy a whole bird on sale, let it slow cook until tender, then portion it into the week's meals. That way, pre-cooked means your kitchen, your hands, your standards. Check ingredient lists for hidden additives, store leftovers below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and finish them within 4 days, which leads to the question that won't quite go away. Is the farm fresh on that Purdue bag a reflection of reality, or just a story we keep buying because it feels better than the truth? And if we're buying the story, what else might we be quietly giving up in the name of saving a few minutes at the stove? Number 3. Foster Farms. Some brands wear their hometown like a crown, and Foster Farms has been that name on the West Coast freezer aisle, the one you pass by and feel a little nod of local pride. Bags of grilled strips, roasted chicken breasts, and breaded fillets all bask in the California fresh glow, as if the chicken in your lunch wrap had been pecking at the ground under blue skies just hours earlier. It's an easy sell for anyone who swapped time at the stove for ready-to-eat poultry. Retirees looking to stretch their energy, working parents juggling long shifts, or anyone hoping that local still means better. But behind that sun-washed wrapper is a record that's far more complicated, a history that can make that hometown halo slip right off. The cracks showed most sharply during a salmonella outbreak that spanned multiple states, with antibiotic-resistant strains linked to Foster Farms sickening hundreds. While the headlines focused on raw chicken, USDA documents and investigative reports revealed a deeper concern. The very same plants tied to those outbreaks were also producing fully cooked, ready-to-eat poultry. That means the same floors, the same equipment, and the same safety culture were tasked with protecting your heat and eat strips, even though that culture had already failed in a way that sent people to the hospital. For an older adult or anyone with a weakened immune system, a resistant strain of salmonella isn't a bad stomach day. It's a potentially life-threatening battle. And then there was the year 2016, when over 220,000 pounds of fully cooked frozen chicken patties were recalled for plastic contamination. FSIS reports said the pieces were large enough to choke or injure. A terrifying thought if you picture those patties being served to a grandchild or an elderly spouse without anyone suspecting a hazard. This wasn't a rogue accident. It was a mechanical wear problem that somehow evaded detection. When a brand trades on family-friendly, letting sharp fragments slip into the food is like leaving loose screws in a baby's crib. There's no way to frame that as harmless. The human side of the supply chain tells its own story. Labor advocates and investigative journalists have documented punishing line speeds, meager break times, and injury reports that go missing in Foster Farms facilities. In 2020, during the peak of COVID-19, the Livingston plant became the site of one of California's deadliest workplace outbreaks. More than 400 workers infected and multiple deaths, all while production lines kept moving, thanks in part to federal waivers allowing faster processing. For customers who imagined California fresh meant cleaner, safer, and more human-focused, the reality was illness spreading among workers who were still expected to keep the chicken flowing to store shelves. Animal welfare claims haven't escaped scrutiny either. Foster Farms promotes humane sourcing, yet undercover footage and whistleblower testimony have shown rough handling, overcrowding, and injured birds left untreated. For shoppers who thought they were buying from a brand that treated animals with compassion, those images feel like betrayal in slow motion. The kind that hits every time you open the freezer. Like other industry giants, Foster Farms isn't making decisions in a vacuum. Retail buyers push prices down, competitors flood the shelves with cheaper protein, and regulations often fall short of what the public assumes they guarantee. That kind of pressure can bend even the most polished marketing promises, and while the brand's ads might show fields of grain and smiling farmers, the reality is traced in recall notices, outbreak reports, and worker safety complaints. For anyone deciding to step away from Foster Farms but keep the convenience, Softwaresmith's Beit de Boeuf Torsten Dimmens, Mary's Organic Chicken, also California-based, runs on a smaller scale with organic certifications and a tighter farm-to-bag process, or take the hands-on route. Buy family packs of chicken breasts when they're on sale, season them simply, and bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit until the internal temperature reaches 165. Slice, portion, freeze. And you've made your own pre-cooked chicken without the corporate baggage. So the question lingers, when a company wears local pride like a badge but leaves behind a trail of outbreaks, plastic recalls, and worker tragedies, does that pride still belong? Or are we clinging to the comfort of the story because it feels safer than confronting what's been happening behind those barn doors? Number 4. Pilgrim's Pride. Pilgrim's Pride doesn't whisper its presence. It's everywhere. School lunches, grocery freezer aisles, chain restaurant menus, even military bases. The packaging leans into red, white, and blue sentiment, draping chicken fillets, grilled strips, and seasoned chunks in the language of tradition and American farming. It's a pitch that suggests trust is already baked in, that what you're buying is part of the same steady supply that's fed generations. For anyone who counts on having dinner on the table in minutes, seniors balancing a tight budget, parents with no room for error in the evening rush, it's meant to feel like a safe bet. But when a brand can reach millions of plates in a single day, the smallest cracks in the system can travel just as far, just as fast. The trust took a blow when federal prosecutors tied Pilgrim's Pride to the industry's massive broiler chicken price-fixing scandal. Executives were accused of coordinating with competitors to manipulate supply and drive up prices, a hidden tax that drained wallets without a single shopper knowing. By 2021, the company had agreed to pay more than $100 million in fines. For households already stretching Social Security checks or hourly wages, those weren't abstract numbers. They were grocery dollars quietly siphoned off over years. Food safety brought its own storm. In 2016, Pilgrims recalled more than 4.5 million pounds of fully cooked chicken products because of contamination fears involving metal and plastic. Complaints had trickled in before the recall widened, showing that detection systems failed to stop the problem early. These weren't raw cuts you could examine before cooking. They were sold as done, safe, and ready to eat. The idea of biting into a shard hidden inside a heat and serve meal has a way of making every forkful feel suspicious, and the human cost can't be written off. In 2020, lawsuits and media reports painted a grim picture of plants pushing ahead at full capacity during COVID-19 outbreaks. Workers described lacking adequate protective gear and paid sick leave, conditions that made infection not just possible but inevitable. The disconnect between patriotic branding and the treatment of the people behind the product was jarring. Even the environment has taken hits. Pilgrims has been fined for water pollution violations, with processing plant runoff contaminating rivers and streams. For the communities downstream, these aren't line items on a legal docket. They're threats to drinking water, fishing grounds, and local life. When a company markets the beauty of the land while contributing to its degradation, the contradiction is impossible to ignore. For those ready to swap it out, just bear lightly breaded. Chicken breast chunks deliver similar convenience with clearer sourcing, or buy boneless chicken thighs, season them simply, and roast at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 to 25 minutes. Portion and freeze, and you'll have your own ready-to-heat stockpile with nothing lurking inside. The bigger question lingers. If a brand can wrap itself in the flag while inflating prices, recalling millions of pounds for contamination, and fouling the waters it romanticizes, is it still a tradition? Or just a costume? Number 5. Sanderson Farms. Sanderson Farms has long leaned on a what you see is what you get identity. No flowery farm diaries, no rustic sepia-toned commercials, just a plain-spoken assurance that chicken is chicken. That stripped-down image struck a chord with shoppers weary of marketing fluff, especially older Americans who've always valued straight talk over slick slogans. Their pre-cooked grilled breast fillets, breaded patties, and diced chicken promised to slip easily into weeknight dinners without fuss, appealing to retirees watching every dollar and busy families racing the clock. But the trouble with a nothing-to-hide promise is that it only works if nothing troubling turns up. In 2021, Sanderson was pulled into the same broiler price-fixing scandal that rattled the poultry industry. Prosecutors accused top producers of coordinating to limit supply and push up prices, and while the company denied wrongdoing, it agreed to a multi-million-dollar settlement. For households stretching Social Security checks, that wasn't just industry drama. It was years of paying extra for the most basic protein without even knowing it. Environmental stains have left their mark, too. In 2019, the U.S. Department of Justice sued Sanderson over wastewater discharges that violated the Clean Water Act, polluting rivers and streams near processing plants. Residents downstream described foul odors, dead fish, and water turned cloudy and unfit for recreation or drinking. When the waterways that define a community become dumping grounds, the gap between a no-nonsense brand image and reality isn't just visible, it's personal. Food safety hasn't escaped scrutiny either. Consumer advocacy testing has detected antibiotic-resistant salmonella in Sanderson products, a serious risk for seniors and those with fragile immune systems who may think pre-cooked chicken is the safest option. The company insists it meets legal thresholds, but bacteria don't respect marketing copy. And a resistant infection can turn a simple meal into a weeks-long hospital ordeal. Marketing ethics also took a hit when the Organic Consumers Association sued, alleging that 100% natural claims were misleading, citing residues of synthetic drugs and pesticides. For shoppers who trusted the plain truth pitch, it felt like a crack running straight through the foundation of that trust. Those seeking an alternative could look to Farmer Focus with its smaller scale, farmer-owned model and more transparent production, or roast split chicken breasts bone-in, freeze the portions, and enjoy better flavor with the comfort of knowing exactly how they were made. Which leads to the sharper question, If the label says honest and the record shows otherwise, is it still the truth? Or just the shortest version of a story we'd rather believe? Number 6. Koch Foods. Koch Foods built its reputation on being the quiet, bulk supplier. The name you see on frozen boxes of pre-cooked strips, breaded fillets, or grill-marked breasts feeding schools, cafeterias, and discount groceries. To budget-conscious shoppers, especially older Americans, it looks like a simple, affordable choice. But in August 2019, that plain image shattered when nearly 700 undocumented workers were arrested in a single day during a massive ICE raid on Mississippi plants, including Koch facilities. Scenes of crying children and empty homes broadcast nationwide. A year earlier, Koch paid $3.75 million to settle federal harassment claims, with reports of supervisors at its Morton, Mississippi plant groping Hispanic workers, throwing chicken parts at them, and using slurs. Food safety issues have also surfaced, including salmonella probes and recalls over metal and plastic contamination, showing that lapses in one part of production can taint ready-to-eat lines. For those seeking alternatives, Organic Prairie's fully cooked organic chicken strips offer transparent U.S. sourcing, or you can roast whole legs at home, shred, and freeze for easy meals. The bigger question is whether a bag of nuggets can ever be just chicken once you know the human cost baked into the supply chain. Number 7. House of Rayford Farms. In the Southeast, House of Rayford wears the badge of a family-owned, southern-rooted supplier, a steady presence behind diced chicken for cafeterias and breaded tenders for grocery freezers. For older, working-class locals, that familiarity can feel like trust earned. But the record tells another story. The company has paid fines for dumping untreated wastewater into rivers, with a South Carolina plant manager even sent to prison for falsifying records to hide illegal discharges. For downstream rural towns, that meant tainted fishing holes and unsafe drinking water, harm that lingers long after the fines are paid. Inside the plants, OSHA citations have flagged hazardous equipment and missing safety guards, with injuries ranging from burns to amputations. These aren't just paperwork violations. Their lives change to keep lines running. In 2017, a recall of over 35,000 pounds of fully cooked chicken due to listeria risk underscored how such a culture can spill over into food safety, putting nursing home residents, hospital patients, and school children at risk. For cleaner options, Harvestland Organic offers USDA-certified organic pre-cooked chicken, or roast drumsticks at home for an affordable, ready-to-eat supply. The bigger question remains, when family business leaves behind polluted rivers, hurt workers, and contaminated food, is it really serving the community, or quietly hollowing it out? Every meal is a choice. Know the truth, protect your table, and join us for more. Subscribe today.
Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our daily content. Now feel free to check out some of the newest and best videos currently shown on your screen. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.